Namaste. Riki Jones here to lead you through a prenatal yoga sequence that's appropriate for women in all stages of their pregnancy and is also suitable for beginners and pros alike. So we're going to get started today in cobbler's pose. So take a comfortable seat and then bring the soles of your feet together. So the balls of the feet and the heels will touch. And start to slightly fold forward, walking your hands in front. You should feel a nice stretch in the lower back here. Press your palms down into the floor. Take some nice deep breaths. So we want to try and use ocean breath or ujjayi breathing throughout our practice. That is taking deep inhalations through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And maybe walk it out a little bit further. And walking back up to a seated position. We're going to rock the hips back and forth. Should feel pretty good on your sit bones. Just starting to get those hips nice and open. That's what we want to start to make a lot of space there for our delivery. Also, hips have the tendency to get very tight in our pregnancy because of all the extra weight we're carrying around. All right, now we're going to bring the legs wide out in front of us. And just kind of wake them up a little bit by pedaling the knees up and down. And then we'll windshield wiper the feet back and forth. And we'll take a moment to make circles with the wrist and the ankles. Get out all the pops and the cracks. And take it in the opposite direction. All right, from here we're going to move to our hands and knees. So I recommend using a blanket for your knees here if you have one. Just kind of makes a little bit more comfortable. You can place that in the center of your mat. You're going to bring your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Spread the fingertips wide, slight bend in your elbows. We're going to bring the knees together. And we'll start just gently rocking from side to side, opening the hips, left to right. And if you can, try and engage your core as you bring your hips back towards center. Now we're going to add a head movement in with this. So as you drop your hips down to the left, you're going to look over the right shoulder. And as the hips come down to the right, gaze over the left shoulder. And just kind of notice how your neck is feeling, how the hips are feeling as they begin to open with this movement. Again, coming back to that ujjayi breathing, deep inhales through the nose, exhales through the nose. Okay, from here, we're going to make circles with the hips. So keeping the knees together, bringing the hips out to the side, back, and around. So just find your own range of motion here, whatever feels good. When we do this, we're increasing the synovial fluid in the hip joints. And that's what we use to lubricate the joints. And again, wanting to create more space in the hips here. It'll be conducive for delivery. And take it in the opposite direction. And just remember at any time, if you're doing any of these movements and it just doesn't feel right, just take a break and then jump back in when you're ready. And back towards center. From here, we're going to bring the knees out to hip width distance now. And work on a little bit of core strengthening and balancing. So first we're going to take the right arm, bring it out in front of you with the palm facing down. And then we'll bring the left leg up and back. So there's a slight bend in your left elbow, and we're breathing. Reach forward with the fingertips, reach back with the toes. Try and make your body nice and long. One more deep breath here. And release. Okay, let's try the other side. So this does require some balancing, so it's nice to have a little spot on the floor to look at to help you with your balance. Left arm comes out, right leg comes back. And if you just kind of gaze at that spot, it will help you with your balance. We call it a drishti, or a focal point. Back to the Ujjayi breathing. And then lower down. We're going to take those movements and bring them into a flow. So on the inhalation, the right arm lifts, the left leg comes up and back. Exhale, back down to the mat. Inhale, left arm, right leg. And exhale down. So our bodies are changing so much throughout our pregnancy. We don't really know what to expect sometimes when we start moving. So it's a really great rule of thumb to just go extra slow and be extra cautious as you're going through these postures. If you ever get out of breath or you feel tired, please just take a break. Let's do one more on each side. And then from here, we're just gonna sit back on the heels. Take a moment to reconnect with your baby. Bring your hands to your belly. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One more time. Excellent. Now we're going to transition towards standing at the tops of our mats in Tadasana. And come to standing at hip width distance. You want your toes and heels to be aligned. Make sure you're pressing down through all four corners of the feet. All right, this next movement is a flowing Tadasana. On the inhalation, you're going to raise the heels as you raise the arms, coming up. Exhale, heels come back down to the mat as the palms come down to your sides simultaneously. So it helps to have a little spot on the wall in front of you or on the floor in front of you to help you look at, to help with your balance, again, using that drishti. And this is so great for strengthening the heels, the feet, the ankles, the calves. As we go through our pregnancy and we begin to gain more weight, our feet really take a beating. So this is great for strengthening the arches, strengthening the heels. We have the tendency to pronate the foot as we gain more weight. So really try and focus on pressing down through the big toe and the ball of the foot as you go through this exercise. And coming back to the breath, we want to inhale fully on the way up. And exhale down. And it's a lot harder than it looks. So if you're flailing or flopping from side to side, don't worry, you're not alone. It took me a long time to get my feet strong enough to do this. But as you do it, you can try and see if you can gain a little bit more height on each inhalation. Let's do one more. Good. And from here, I'm going to step back into a warrior one. Get a nice calf stretch in there. So take the left foot, bring it behind you about 2 to 3 feet. You want your hips to be parallel to the front of your mat. So make some room for your baby. You might need to toe heel that right foot out to the side a little bit. I like to make sure my hips are parallel by taking the heels of my hands, placing them on my hips, and then aligning my fingertips. Then on the inhalation, we're gonna bend the right knee and lift both arms up into a warrior one. Bringing this into a movement to work the shoulders. I'm gonna inhale, look up towards the sky, and on the exhale, straighten the right leg, bend the elbows, and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, knee bends, arms lift up. Exhale, leg comes straight, and the elbows bend. So just continuing this movement with the breath. Be sure to really ground the left heel down into the floor. So those heel raises got the back of your calf a little bit tight. This is a great way to stretch it out again. Let's do one more on this side. Good, and we'll switch. Step the left foot up to meet the right, and we'll do the other side. So right leg comes back about 2 to 3 feet. Hips parallel to the front of your mat. Check in, make sure they're even. And then we'll inhale, lift the arms and bend the knee. Press down through the back of the right heel. And then we'll begin our movement. Inhale, reach the fingertips up, look up. Exhale, straighten the left leg. Squeeze the shoulder blades together as you bend your elbows. Draw your tailbone down towards the floor. Let's do 2 more on this side. Again, slower is always better. You'd be amazed when you do these movements with the breathing, the deep effect they can have on the body without even really putting in too much effort. And right foot comes back to meet the left. From here, we're going to come into what we call pyramid pose or flank pose. So the left foot's going to come back again about 2 to 3 feet. Again, hips parallel to the front of the mat. We're gonna place both hands on the top of the right thigh. Deep breath in. Exhale, gently slide your hands down the front of your leg. So you want a slight bend in the right knee. We never want to lock out the joints while we're doing our practice. And then we want to pull the right hip back and the left hip will come forward. Continue to breathe. Come back to that Ujjayi ocean breath. And as you start to get a little more comfortable in this posture, you can slide your hands down towards the foot. Pull your shoulder blades back. Let's take one more deep breath here. Good, and then on the inhalation, arms will come out in front and we'll come back up to standing and switching legs. So this time the right leg will come back 2 to 3 feet. Check in with the hips, make sure they're parallel to the front of your mat. Both hands come to the tops of the left thigh. Deep breath in. Exhale, slowly forward fold. And bring the right hip forward, pull the left hip back. Some people can bring their hands all the way down to the mat. If that's you, you can go ahead and do that today. Just nice, slow breathing here. Feel the back of the hamstring opening. Breathe into it. On the next inhalation, we'll bring the arms out in front and slowly bring yourself back up. And right foot comes to meet the left. I'm gonna do that one more time with an arm variation. This will help open the chest and work the shoulders. So we'll step back with the left foot again, hips parallel to the front of the mat. We're gonna interlace the fingers behind the back. So clasp your hands together, see if you can press the heels of your palms together. If not, that's fine, you can leave the palms open. Deep breath in, lift the chest. Exhale, hinge forward at the waist. Again, getting into the back of that right leg, but now we're also really stretching the shoulders here, pectoral muscles. Slow, deep breaths. Good, and then on the inhale, ground down through the feet. And gently come back up. We'll do the other side. Step back with the right foot. Hips parallel to the front of the mat. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Squeeze the heels of the palms together. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Deep breath in. Exhale and fold. Again, slight bend in the left knee. And then pushing the right hip forward as the left hip comes back. One more deep breath here, stay with it. Good. Next inhalation, slowly coming back up. Right foot comes to meet the left. Hands together at the heart center, come back to your breath. And then from here, we're going to come into Malasana, or garland pose. It's a lovely squat to open up the hips. So we're gonna start with the feet at a little bit wider than hip width distance. Toes come out to a 45-degree angle. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, you're going to begin to bend your knees as you bring your hips down. Hands out in front of you here, and place them on the floor in front of you. Once your fingertips touch the floor, you're gonna bring your hands together at the heart center. Bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and press the elbows into your knees. You should feel a nice stretch on your inner thigh. Keep the chest lifted and breathe. You should feel a good stretch all throughout your calf muscles, ankles, inner thighs. And actively pressing your elbows into the inside of your knees. One more deep breath here. Excellent. Then from here, we'll transition back down to the floor onto our backs for a bridge pose. Okay, so we're gonna do a variation of bridge pose. You're gonna come on down to your back, soles of the feet on the floor and the knees at hip width distance. You're gonna bring your hands down to your side with the palms facing down. Press the tops of your shoulders down into the mat. And on the inhalation, we're gonna lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Now remember to try and keep your knees at hip width distance at all times. You don't want them to go further or closer together. You should really be feeling this in your hamstrings, glutes, and make sure you're pressing down through all four corners of the feet. We're gonna move this into a flow. So on the exhale, slowly lower the hips back down to the floor, vertebrae by vertebrae. And then on the next inhalation, we'll lift the hips back up. This is so great for low back pain, good for opening the hips. And coming back to that ocean breath, inhaling as you lift the hips up. Exhaling down. So you should be at the bottom of your exhalation when your hips hit the floor. Let's do 2 more like this. Excellent. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to add an arm movement. So on the inhale, as you lift the hips up, the arms are going to come up and above the head, getting a nice stretch to the shoulders. Exhale as you come down, hips and hands hit the mat simultaneously. Again, remembering to try and keep the knees at hip width distance at all times. Reach up with the fingertips. Exhale slowly, coming back down. Now let's do 2 more. You're getting a full body workout here. You're working the low back, hips, shoulders, inner thighs. So this is a great accessible prenatal yoga posture that works the entire body. Nice, and then from here we'll transition into our side shavasana. So you're gonna bring your left arm out in front of you, straighten your left leg, and then just gently roll over towards your left side. You're gonna use this left arm as a pillow. Bring your right palm out in front of you. Just take a little rest here. As long as you have, at least try and do a couple of minutes, up to maybe 5 or 10 minutes if you can afford that. Give your body a chance to rest and integrate all the postures that we just did. And then when you're ready to get up, use your right palm to press down into the floor and very, very slowly press yourself back up to a seated position. And this is Riki Jones for Psychetruth. Thanks for watching this prenatal video. If you liked it, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and please join me for the next prenatal yoga video session. I'd also love to hear your feedback and comments, so if you can take a moment to let me know what you enjoyed or what you'd like to see next time, be much appreciated. Namaste.
You can find my full video library on Amazon, and it's free for Prime members. You can follow along with me from your TV, tablet, or the Amazon app on your phone, so you can join me for yoga class virtually anywhere.